Hey look, it's Combiner Wars Brawl.
Hey look, toys!
So when the Combiner Wars Combaticons were first announced, some people looked at the photos and thought Brawl might be a retool of Rook, as Swindle obviously was. It turns out he's the first completely new mold since Rook, and that's always fun to see. Now, I'll go ahead and start with what I know people are complaining about, the torso hinge. Of course, I wanted to be able to do this review and say, oh no, it's not so bad, you just have to do this, but it is problematic. It's a double hinge, and at least on mine, it's particularly the upper hinge that doesn't lock into place very well. I'm not sure if the lower hinge is locking in or if it's just stiffer. On the other hand, I don't think it looks that bad, and it doesn't keep him from holding most normal poses. It's just annoying when I'm holding him horizontally and the legs tend to flop down. So while some people are comparing this with Blitzwing's shoulders, it doesn't interfere with posability so much, so I think it's not as bad. On the other hand, at least Blitzwing's turret can turn, but I'll save that for later. So with that out of the way, let's look at the rest of the robot mode. One of my favorite things about this figure is the detailing, which comes out in both modes. It's a stark contrast with the G1 figure, which is pretty smooth. There are a lot of parallels with the original Brawl. The arms come from the front part of the treads, the legs form the back, and the chest is the front. I think this is the first Combiner Wars Deluxe figure that doesn't have the chest as the bottom of the vehicle, so you're not looking straight at the combiner peg. You do still see the hinge part, but it's exposed in both modes and it doesn't really stand out. The head is also a nice likeness. All the distinctive features are there, just a little darker. As a nice callback to the toe stickers from the G1 toy, there are these lined silver bits on the feet. And of course, it's always nice to have ankle tilts. Part of it is from how the feet sections fold back for combiner leg mode, but the side-to-side tilt is just a bonus. And here comes the transformation. In tank mode, again, the detailing really comes out, and it gives a great sense of mass and scale, especially compared with the G1 toy. They also preserved one of the few molded details from the original, these circles on top with asterisk shapes. The combiner cannon can be attached to the turret two ways, by pegging into the top, or by flipping out this other peg and pegging it in the other way. The combiner cannons always look more right side up this way, so I like it better. The instructions never tell you how to do weapon storage. The only mention of this flip-out peg is where you have to get it out of the way for arm mode. One of my biggest disappointments, more than the torso hinge, is that this guy's turret doesn't turn. A lot of people say, who cares, he's going to be in leg mode most of the time anyway. That is the standard configuration for Bruticus, but I actually like Brawl better as an arm. I always figured it made more sense to have a tank turret on your arm than on your kneecap, except when it's still stuck pointing at the sky. But even aside from that, when we have Legends and Minicon tanks with rotating turrets, it's hard to overlook this omission on a deluxe figure. I just have to complain about one more thing, the instructions. I don't mind the switch from shiny to matte paper, but it's printed with this gray ink instead of black, and it can be hard to read. I hope they go back to black for the next wave. So, I had high hopes for Brawl. The G1 toy was the first Combaticon I got, so I have a soft spot there. And for a new mold, I was hoping for something as well done as Rook. The waist and the turret are disappointing, but on the other hand, we have the great detailing and the angle joints. On the whole, I think he's a nice update, in spite of the flaws. Thanks for looking.